Hello there, guys, and welcome to our IBA Week 6 game, I think, or something like that. As I said earlier on last week, I'm worried about getting complacent in this league, and yeah, this is my upload. I did stream EV-AARON. There'll be a lot more streams going on now that I can actually stream, and this is a game against Mike. So Pokemaster Mike, you check him out in the description. I brought Bandit Klinklang, led it off as he led with the Rotom, and I was like, if this is Scarf, he has no real reason to stay in here. And all that, and I was like, I'm just gonna click Banded. I think I clicked Banded Return from memory, because I recently have the ability. Oh, no, Facade. Sorry, click Banded Facade because I was like, hey, we might click Will-O-Wisp if he's fast, just to try to like slow something down. Goes into the Klefki, and I'm like, I can't really do much about this. And I decided to go out into my Venomoth because Venomoth is like my dedicated quote-unquote answer to this thing, as he does click Thunderwave. And now for those of you who do not know, Bird trying to get lucky against his opponent, never happens. My opponent against me, and this is like again where, me being sort of on life tool at the moment, is sort of funny. But like, I click T-Spikes this turn, and from memory, I'm like, yeah, sweet. So I'm trying to scan out what his Defogger is. If it is the Klefki, it doesn't really worry me that much. And the reason for that is I can just go back out in my Klinklang because it's banded, as I said earlier, and I can just go for the banded Gear Grind, as he does go for that Fire Punch. Okay, so now what I'm saying is, I know that this is Goodra is 110% Assault Vest, and I also know that it's going to be packing 4 various different coverage moves. And he shows this by essentially making the safe play, switching out, goes down into this Klefki, and I'm like, okay, you want to make your Klefki take half. This is like an issue because, and this is what I keep saying, like, I do get a little bit unlucky in this game, but it doesn't matter. I should have played better. He does go for the Defog this turn, because this was definitely one of my harder matchups. Goes for that, and I'm like, oh, sweet. And I was like, let's go for Gear Grind. I'm like, oh, that's a bit of damage. I'm like, oh, sweet. Is this a little bit more bit of damage? I'm like, oh, perfect. And then he goes out into the Easy Bake, and I'm like, oh, sweet. I'm going to see if this is Scarfed or not, so let's stay in. He goes for the default switch, and I'm like, okay, he's definitely Scarf. I could tell that from turn 1, and I'm like, but let's just sack Klinklang here in case he tries to go for Overheat or something, trying to predict that Volcarona and want to come back in. It goes down into the Aquafina, and now this is a very crucial turn of the battle. And the reason that this is so crucial is that what I want to do this turn is go out into my Padonis and my Gyarados. I just want to click Z Bounce. Now the reason I said this is crucial is that my main check to Finny was the Venomoth, and because it was paralyzed, I just wanted to chunk this from a huge amount of damage because my win con this game is my Volcarona, just because Klinklang's gone down. Klinklang didn't really get a break this game. And this absolutely, is just an interesting play, really. So I go for the Supersonic Sky Strike, and I do about 60 to 70% from memory to the Tapu Fini, and I'm like, this is offensive. I think it's about 60% as he goes for the Specs HP Electric. I'm like, good job. And I'm here like, okay, so this is fine. Let me just go out into my my Venomoth now, because then I know your Specs, and I essentially have a free turn to T-Spike this turn, because no matter what he goes out into, nothing really wants to take this T-Spike. Goes out into his Mandy, which is his Goodra, and I'm paralyzed. And I'm like, okay, he has shown the Fire Punch before. Ice isn't super effective on the Venomoth. Banded Outrage will do a lot to a Mega Altaria. And then he clicks Ice Beam, because my win con this game was my Mega Altaria. And you'll see very soon, I'm the type of person to have my Mega Altaria frozen in base form in Misty Terrain. And I just want to pause the battle real quick here. Mike says that this freeze didn't really matter because certain things happen later on in the battle. But this freeze is actually super important. The biggest thing I still can't get over is what was that play? Ice Beam is not super effective on Venomoth. You've seen the previous turn, I've wanted to go for T-Spikes. You've made a nice read trying to predict me to be super aggro this game, going out into my Mega Altaria. But if I didn't get the freeze, I freely roost up. I lose my flying type. I'm very defensive. I'm DD, Cotton Guard, Dragon Dance. I'm going to start smacking everything. And the thing was, Mike was like, well, I have Banded Mammo in the back. I'm like, okay, so you got Banded Mammo in the back. I'm always going to switch out first time against Mammo, hard into Volcarona or Venomoth because they both resist its... And neutral to one stab, Volcarona resists the ice stab, and Venomoth is not affected by it. And this was just the point in the battle where I'm just like, look, this game is over now because I've gotten frozen. And it's not very puggled. Yeah. I don't know why I get so slow to you guys. I'm really apologetic. I went for the return that, because if I did get down the freeze and I did go for that return, I won the game. Because Goodra goes down and then Quiver Dance and Volcarona sort of wins. Because Scarf Barbaracle can start cleaning up. Now with this Scarf Barbaracle, I do go for my Scarf Rocks. And I'm like, oh yes, free! And then, goes for the Dragon Tail, and I'm like, oh sweet, I avoided that. That helps him out even more, because now he knows I'm scarfed into rocks, or I'm very fast, and I can't touch it, so let's go out into a Volcarona here, because if he goes for another Dragon Tail, he has the chance to get burnt. Misty Terrain is not up this turn, it has disappeared, and I'm like, okay, so this is fair enough. And from memory, I think I have a 50-50 to make this turn. I'm like, do I swing, or do I go for a Quiver Dance? And I think from memory, I do go for the Flamethrower this turn, as he does go out into the Mamoswine. Oh no, sorry, I go for Roost. Yeah, sorry, I went for Roost because I was like, alright, let's fish for a burn. Because if I got a burn on Goodra, it would have been very important for late stage of this battle. Goes down into this. I'm like, this is going to be Banded Edge. I don't have an answer anymore, so let's go out into my good friend Venomoth. And this is where things would have like hurt him as well, because if I did get that like T-Spike chip off, he's taken like 24%. He takes another 12% this next turn, and he's essentially at like a lot lower HP. And that's like, this key turn of paralysis has really annoyed me. But at the same time, Mike played a strategy that gave him the best parameters to win this game, which was paralyzing my Venomoth. And it is a little bit frustrating, but now I just go out into my Scarf Barbaracle here, and I'm like, sweet, let's just click Liquidation. Now, if he was lower, I could actually lock myself into Stone Edge. But because of this, I have to go for the Liquidation to guarantee the kill. But also, you'll see here, I'm 99% sure from memory, he like brings back in the Rotom. And if I locked myself into Stone Edge, this Volt Switch was not as free for him. Because I was like at this point, I'm definitely dying, and I'm like, oh, okay. But like, if I could lock myself into Stone Edge, you can't Volt Switch out into, I think, yeah, Volt Switches out into the Tapu Fini this turn, which would reset the Misty Terrain, which would stop T-Spikes. However, at the same time, it wouldn't actually help him overall, because, as I said, this Fini would have dropped. Yeah, it might give him an extra turn to go back out into the Scarf Rotom Heat, but because of that, I sort of am playing very down, and I'm just like trying to claw this game back. And what happens here is he just goes down into the Swellow, and if this is a Scarf Swellow, he's won the battle, because I can like go into my Volcarona here on the U-turn, but at the same time I didn't know if he was physical or special yet, and I'm like, maybe I'll have to try my best to win with Last Mon Volcarona, because unless the Rotom Heat does have Trick, this game could still be in my favor, but it's a very small 50-50, and in saying that, I go out into my my Volcarona here, and I'm like, okay, let's go for a cheeky Quiver Dance, and on a dance style, and he does go for the trick, and then I literally said to him as soon as that happened, I said, please just end this game. I don't want to muck around for 800 turns and you stall me out, because I got other things to do. I was really busy with exam week, and I think I played this game like a day before one of my exams, or just after an exam. It was really another game where I was really lost in communication, but it is what it is. He just decides to Volt Switch this next turn. I'm just going to skip a turn. Yeah, come on, just go into the Swallow. You know, like, he clicks Volt Switch for whatever reason. He should have just went hard into Swallow, because like, it just stalled out the game even more. He wants to get Swallow another kill. As I do go for a Quiver Dance, and the Brave Bird comes. Bang! Yeah, and that's another loss for Bird. Great success! Till next time, guys.